Ois Gimel. The Rebbe will now explain what actually happens when we say that the Eibishter puts on tefillin. What happens when the Eibishter puts on tefillin, that there becomes a very special connection between Yudke being Chochmo Bina, Moichin, and Vavke being the Midos. Yudke the Moichin and Vavke the Midos. When a Yid puts on tefillin, and through that the Eibishter puts on tefillin, what does it mean? The Eibishter puts on tefillin. It means that we're mamshich from the level of Yudke to Vavke, a much greater Atzmis Dikam Shoche, which is on of itself when Yudke goes to Vavke, when Moichin goes to Midas. But through the avodah of a Yid, when a Yid puts on tefillin, he brings Hashem to put on tefillin. Hashem bringing on tefillin is to be mamshich Yudke to Vavke. Or also another interpretation, to bring from the level of Keser, or the midos, which are higher than Yudke, the Chochmo Bina of Atzilus, to connect them with Yudke. And that's also accomplished through the Avodah of Yidden to connect these two things. Yudke is, of course, 15. We're going to show now, the Rebbe is first going to show from the Bebechaye that Yudke is connected in the Pasuk as Hashem Ha'amarta, Hashem's praise. And this Hashem's praise is the tefillin, because the tefillin are a pe'er. This Pasuk has the hint for Yudke, for the 15, because there's 15 times, there's 15 letters in the word as Hashem Ha'amarta Yom, in the praise of Hashem. So over there in that pasuk, as Hashem Amarta Yoim, there's 15 words, and that's the number of Yud-K. The world has the number 500. What does it mean? Like in the Gemara, when the Gemara says that from the world to the sky is 500 years, the number 500. 500 is each sky from the sky. So we have the idea of 500 represents the world. The world comes from midos. When we combine the number and we say Yudke with 500, that's almost like saying Yudke and Vavke, because again, as we'll see in the details in the Rebbe's explanation, Yudke represents Moichin, Chochmo Bina. Vavke is Midos is represented by the number 500. And because we have, and that represent the world is presented by 500. The world is Midos. Yudke Vavke means Mamshich, the Yudke into the Vavke. Now, even though in the Pasuk it says Yudke 15, but this idea that in the Eibishter's tefillin doesn't just say, it says Hashem Echod, Umika Amcho Yisrael Goy Echod, the level of Echod. Echod one means Yudke and Vavke together. So this is the idea of being Mamshich, as the Rebbe will explain. But what we have from all this, now, who is the one that accomplishes that the Yudke to come to the Vavke, or that Kesser should come to the Yudke? That's all accomplished by Yidden. That's why it says that the Yidden make it up, and that's why when the Eibishter's Tefillin says, even though it says the praise of the Yidden, Umika Amcho Ki Yisrael Goyechad Ba'aretz, yeah, it's because the Goyechad Ba'aretz are accomplishing a new hamshacha. They're helping Hashem. They're making a new impact because they're bringing down greater than the light is by itself. Ki'ilu asisuni. They are the one that's making it up. Let's see the Rebbe, because the Rebbe here have to help and cup over here, because the Rebbe goes away to explain some gematrias. What the Rebbe is getting at is to see that in this pasuk, first of all, there's the level of Yud-Kei, and this is also associated as Yud-Kei connected with Echad, which is the Yud-Kei with the Tov Kuf, which is the Midos, or higher than Atzilus with Yud-Kei, as the Rebbe will continue. Let's go step by step. The Yuvan calls so we'll understand all this by introducing Mashemevi Admura Tzemach Tzedek, what the Tzemach Tzedek brings down, the Maimore Hanal and the above mentioned Maimer. Mashekosuv HaBechai, he brings down from the Bechai, the Beposik es Hashem Ha'amarta v'goymer yesh tezvav tevis. In the verse, es Hashem Ha'amarta, that you're the chshivas of Hashem Hayoim, there's 15 letters. What is the 15 words? What's the 15 words? He says this is Keneged Tezvav Dvorim Shahoyu B'Mishkan. It's the praise of Hashem of the 15 words. It's the praise of Hashem with regards to the level of Yud-Kei, which is the 15 words, what it says. But this is also corresponds to the 15 items that were in the Mishkan. The Mishkan, what is the 15 items of the Mishkan? Well, he explains there. What is the 15 items of the Mishkan? The Mishkan is sort of the world. The world has 15, and in the world is created, comes also the level of 15. In the Mishkan there is 15. So he says, Mishkan dugmas briyas ha'olam, that the Mishkan is similar to the creation of the world, which means that also, just like the world is created with the number 15, because we say B'Yud Kei Tzurei Lamim, worlds are created. All worlds are created with the level of Yud Kei, which equals 15. The Mishkan also has 15 things, which is on the creation of the world. So, and here we're saying that the as Hashem Haa'amarta also has 15. V'tam hadover b'briyas ha'olam u'b'mishkan. Why does the world and the Mishkan have the number 15? What's the 15 things? Is kedei l'rmoiz mashakosuf ki b'yud kei Hashem tzurei lomim. Is because that hints that it is with Yud Kei. The Eibishter is tzurei lomim, creates the world. Yud nivra elam habo kei elam hazeh. But the Yud Kei together, worlds are created from Yud Kei, from the level of Yud Kei, which is really from the level of Chochma Ubina. So the Eibishter creates the world. The Mishkan is like the world. So just like the world is created with 15, with Yud Kei, we have the 15 items in the Mishkan, which were the 15 gifts that the Pasuk enumerates what they made the Mishkan out of. Ba'ainu. So this really means that it's a hint to Yud Kei. The Tes Hadvov Hadvorim Shabim Mishkan the Remzim al Yud Kei. The 15 things in the Mishkan, they hint on the level of Yud Kei. B'gematria Tezvav. That equals 15. Those are the 15, the word Yud Kei. So the Yud Kei in the Mishkan items hints to the Yud Kei of creation of the world, which is the Yud Kei Chochma Bina. So, since now we're saying that the Posik as Hashem as Havaya as Hashem Amarta Hayoim, there is 15 words, which is the same, he equates it to the Mishkan. So that Gam Benegei Letezva Vateves Shebeposik, as Hashem Hamarta, Shem Remzim Yudke, that this also hints, as Hashem is 15, also has the hint on 15. So far, we know that in the Pasuk is Hashem Hamarta Hayoim, and which is the praise that the Yidden give to the Eibishter, which we say, Atem Asesuni Chativa Achas, you made me into Chativa Achas, as we quoted before, that is in the 15 things that are in the Pasuk over here. As Hashem Amarta Hayoim, that this praise to the Eibishter, the Shvach, has to do with the number of Yud K, with number of 15. However, there's more than just 15. There's more than 15. There is actually 15 times 500, says the Bechayim. The number 15 is Yud K, but is 15 times 500. Tov Kuf, what's the 500? Mentioned before, if you take, and the Rebbe points out the exact order, you'd have the world is 500. The world in general is 500. Why? Because we say from here to the world is 500 years. Each Rekiah is 500. It's all 500. If you go through, the Bechayim makes the cheshbon. The 7 heavens is 7 times 15. Between each heaven is another 6 times, so it's 13 times 15. Then you have above, as the Rebbe brings down the Ha'orah, so you have 7 times 15. What does this represent? So you have the 15, that's, we're saying Chochmah Bina. Then you have creation, which is 500. 15 times 500. 15 is Yud K, and 500 is word. Let's look inside. וממשיך בבחיישום שכנגדם כנגד התזבוב דבורים שבמשכון נמצאו תזבוב פעמים תוף קוב בשבע ריקים. So there's 15 items in the Mishkan, but the world that was created from 15, also corresponding that, there is 15 times 500 in the 7 Rikim. As mentioned before, each Rikiah, there's 15 times 500. So there's 500 times 15. So the Maamer explains. So what does it mean from 15 to 500? We know that Moshe Rabbeinu prayed to Hashem when he said, he beseeched Hashem to go into Eretz Yisrael. He prayed to Hashem 515. What's the number of 515? Is Tezvav Pa'amim Tov Kuf. 15 times Tov Kuf. V'eschanon is 15 times 500. So you have 500, the world, the sky, the Shivarikim, and you have 15, Yud K Hashem Tzur Elamim, 5 and 15 and 500. So based on what is explained elsewhere, the Inyan v'eschanon b'gematria Tov Kuf Tezvav. So when we say eschanon is 515, it's a connection Tov Kuf v'Tezvav and b'teva achas. Over there, in one word v'eschanon, 15 and 500 are together. What is 15? It's in v'eschanon. To combine the 15 and the 500, there is a combination. Uchibur v'yichud, it's explained, the Bechinas Tezvav Yudke, in Bechinas Tov Kuf. That means to combine 515 Yudke with level of Tov Kuf to come on. The Rebbe will explain 500 is world, is Midas. And here, the combination of V'eschanon, of Yudke, and again, the Yudke is 15 in the Pasuk is Hashem Ha'amarta. And that's in the Mishkan, the 15 things. But the 15 manifests itself in 500 times 15 in the creation of the worlds, and the 500, then the 15, the Yudke and the Vor becomes one. So Yesh Loimar, so the Rebbe says, the Zeh Shebeposik es Hashem ha'amarta Yesh Tezvov Tezves, the fact that there is 15 words in the Posik She'amarta, V'chein Zeh Shebemishkoi Tezvov Zvorim, that there was 15 things, so the number 15. Sharem is al Yudke Kenal, which hints at Yudke. Hakavona b'zeh, it's not just to speak about Yudke, Chochma Bina. It's not the Yudke as by itself. Kiim b'chinas Yudke kemoishi mechuberes umiyuchedes in b'chinas Tovke. That is Yudke as it's connected with the Tovke. Again, Tovke will be Midos, and it's the Moichin connected with the Midos. That's what the Pasuk, the 15, is hinted over here, both in the Pasuk Hashem Amarta and in the Mishkan. The 15, it's not 15 by itself, but it's 15 together, which is accomplished through Yidden, as we'll see that. The Yuvan Zeh, so what we'll understand this, based on the saying of the sages that were brought before. The inyan es Hashem amarto hu atem asisuni chativa achas havaya echad. You made me into one. The Yidden made Hashem hamarto hayoim. So how did we make Hashem the level? We made Hashem chativa achas. The Rebbe asked before, how did we make Hashem chativa achas? What was it? The Eibishter is Achod, but the Eibishter says, Hashem ha'amarta, that you are the one that praised Hashem, made Hashem this union, that you're saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad, you made him into one entity, Hashem Echad. What does it mean, you made Hashem into Hashem Echad? Two possibilities. Either Hashem Echad, that Yudke and Vovke are really one, so that the Moichin and Midas are together, or Hashem Echad means that Keser, which is higher than Moichin, is one with Midas. Either Moichin is Mamshech to Midas, or Keser is Mamshech to Moichin. So yes, B'zeh Pirush. Pirush, Aleph, one interpretation, the Havaya Echad hu k'moshe kosuv ha'arizal is the same as the Arizal writes al Aposik, V'yoyim hahu yiyah Havaya Echad. What does it mean? Havaya will be one. Shev Yudke im Vovke yu mekushorim ba'achdus echad. That the Yudke and the Vovke will be united. Mekusher, he writes, in one union. Yudke and Vavke will be together, which is the idea of Chibur Meichin and Midas, to connect the Meichin and the Midas. That's one thing of Yudke Vavke. That's Hashem Echad, the one Pirush. So one Pirush, when we're saying Echad, we're saying Hashem Echad, we're saying that the Meichin and the Midas, and also all the Yudkes that we're talking about in the Pasuk is Hashem Amarta. You're saying it's Yudke the way it's together with Tavkuf, together with the Vavke. So one is Chibur Meichin and Midas, Yudke together with the Vavke. Upirush Abezu. But the second Pirush says, no. The Pirush HaChavaya Chod, Hu Al Derech Ani Havaya, is similar to Hashem Echad, is that Ani, which is higher than Yudke, Vavke, higher becomes is connected with Hashem. The Ani Shehu Atzmus Eirim Sof. That Ani, which is Atzmus Eirim Sof, Im Shem Havaya. Ani Hashem. Hashem Echad means that they connect with Ani, with Havaya. Kulu Chad Mamish, it's all really one. Vesehu, and this is the meaning, what we're saying, this explains what we're saying, Mashet. Tezvov HaTevis, Bigamatra Yudke, the 15 words in matter. So we're talking about Yud K over here. Shebepasik is Havaya Amarta Reimchu, so is lebchinas Yud K, but they hidden Yud K k'moi shehi mechuberes umiyuchedes in bechinas Tav K. It's not Yud K alone, but it's Yud K which has the union of Echad, which is connected with the level of Tav K. Either Tav K Moichin and Midas, or Atzmus with Moichin, or Atzmus with Shem Havai. Kigam behachibur b'yichud the Tezvav and Tav Kuf, because also when we talk about Tav Kuf, Tezvav and Tav Kuf, the same two interpretation in Echad, whether Echad means the Yudke and the Vavke, or it means Ani with Hashem, the same thing is the two interpretations when we say a union of the Tezvavim Tov K, Tezvavim Tov Kuf, Shabbatevus V'Chana. What does it mean that Chibur of Tezvavim Tov Kuf? Yes, Shnei Pirushim, there's two interpretations. Dugmas Shnei Pirushim Abba Vayechod, similar to the two interpretations, Hashem Echad. What is the connection? Is it Yud K with the Vav K, or is it Ani with the Shem Hashem? Pirush Echad, the Tovkuf Koi al Hamidis Shalamato Ma'amich. The Tovkuf refers to the Midas which are lower than the Meich. So you're going to ask, what's the connection with 500 with Midas? Because main Midas is 5. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, and Hoid. Chesed, Gvura, Netzach, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid. Those are the main Midas. So the Malchus is not, so the main Midas is Chesed, Gvura, Netzach, Hoid, and Yisoid, the 5. And 5 times 10, each one of the 5 excluded of 10, is 50. And these 10 are further, these 10 are cloned is 500. As I said, Ki ikre hamidis heim hei, hamidis. Main midas are the 5 midas. Shem chesed ad hoi. From chesed to hoi, those are the main midas. The kol echad mehem kolul miyud, and each one is included of 10. The yud miyud, and the other 10 of another 10. So matria tov kuf, so it comes out 500. 5 times 10 is 500. Now, why the world that comes also comes in Tov Kuf, the world comes from Midas, because that's the world, that's why the world matters are divided into Tov Kuf. We have this 500 because they are associated with the 500, which is with the level of Midas. That's why worldly matters are 500. Because the root of Nivroim is from Midas. So therefore, Tov Kuf is associated with the creations. That's why in the world we have the Tov Kuf, the Midas, because that Midas is Tov Kuf. So, based on this, that we're saying Eschanon is Tov Kuf Tezvov, Tov Kuf v'Tezvov emiteva achas, that it's both in one word. Uchibur hamoichin Yud K b'gematria Tezvov imamidus Tov Kuf. So that is Tov Kuf and Tezvov of Yud K with Midas. Midas is Tov Kuf, and Moichin is Yud K. Kipirush Harishim b'Havai Echod. That's the first Pirush Havai Echod. Echod and Yud K and Vav K together. Or Pirush base, another Pirush in the Yichud of Tov Kuf and Tezvov, the Tov Kuf Koyel Hamid is the Arich. It's still Midas, but the 5 Midas, but it's Midas of Arich in Keser. Shalamaylo Mahamechim, that is higher than Mechim. The Inyan Tov Kuf Tezvov, and what's the idea of Tov Kuf Tezvov? Ulekasher ulechaber, to connect and to combine Chochma Ubina, the Yudke, which is Tezvov. Chochma Bina together is Ava Aim, Yud is Chochma Beis, Hey is Bina, to connect the Yudke 15 Ima keser shelamayla ma'ishtalshlus, with the keser which is higher than ishtalshlus, it's also tough kuf because it's the midas of arich, which is basically 500. Dugmash pirush hasheni b'havai echad is similar to the second pirush that we're combining keser with ani Hashem, the ani with Hashem. Shavai v'ani atzmus in sof shelamayla ma'ishtalshlus em kul echad. They're all one. So basically, what we did here was we just explained through the various combinations that Yudke in the context of here of the 50 as Hashem Hamarta Hayim, we're talking about the Yudke, we're talking about Chochmah Bina, we're not talking just about Chochmah Bina. We're talking about a union from either Chochmah Bina with Midos, with Zoh, or a Yichud of Arich Keser with Yudke, with Yishem Havaya. And now we will see that yichud that is being accomplished, that we're talking about here in this posik, Hashem Hamarta Hayim, which is praising Hashem, is actually something which Yidden accomplished. And this becomes the Hashem says Hashem Hamarta, meaning that the Eibishter says, you praised me, and I'm going to praise you. So we understand now, as Hashem Hamarta, that we praise the Eibishter, because that in the Eibishter's film, we say, and we said that in the Eibishter's film, even though over there it talks about the praise of the Yidden, Umik'amcha Yisrael, as the Rebbe says, Dagam shebetfilin the mora almo ksiv, Umik'amcha Yisrael. So it's basically in Hashem's tefillin is not the praise of the Eibishter. It seems like in the Eibishter's tefillin is the praise of the Yidden. But the essence in the Eibishter is tefillin shu inyan v'Hashem ha'mircha. That is, Hashem is making you praiseworthy. But in truth of the matter is that when Hashem is praising the Yidden, he's actually praising himself. Because harishnei hoinyonim da hamarta v'ha'amircha sheyochim ze lezeh. When you praise Hashem with the chibur of Yudke and Vavke, it's the same as that Hashem praises you, and they're connected. Because when Hashem praises a Yid, and the Yid praises Hashem, that's why Hashem has this level of the combination of Yudke, of the Moichin and the Midas. Because, the Rebbe explains, Kigam bitfilin the Mora Alma, Yeshnam Shnei Yonim Elu. Because also in the Eibishter's tefillin, these two inyonim that we're talking about, Moichin and Midas, or Moichin and Keser and Arich and the higher Ani Hashem. Also, in the Eibishter's film, there is these two aspects. The tefillin hein daled moichin. Tefillin are the four moichin. So I have the four compartments. So as moichin are divided into four. Umasha kodesh baruch hu maniach tefillin. So what does it mean? The Eibishter puts tefillin. So you have moichin is tefillin. What is the Eibishter putting on tefillin? Yesh b'zashnei pirushim. We have the similar two pirushim. Aleph da Kodesh Baruch Hu Zoh, Midos Zoh. VaKodesh Baruch Hu maniach tefillin. What does it mean maniach tefillin? Hu am shochas hamoichin lezoh, bringing down moichin to Zoh. So Moichin always comes down to Zoh, but in a special way. When the Eibishter puts on tefillin, soon we'll see who makes the Eibishter put on tefillin. But when the Eibishter puts on tefillin, what it means is moichin is nimshach to Zoh. Hainu shenimshach bezoh etzem ha-moichin. That means that in Zoh you get the essence of the moichin, not the usual what comes down degraded through the evolution that from moichin comes to the midos, but the moichin be'etzem come down into midos. The fact that in the midas of Zoh gets from the moichin the way it's in the ordinary order of the evolve, how it evolves, ishtalshlus. That's from the level of moichin that have a relationship to midas. And even that through many restrictions until it comes to the midas. To the extent that when the moichin descended and deteriorated into the midas of Zoyin, they turned to midas. They're no longer moichin there. The moichin should be midas. Legabe moichin atzmam. If you want to measure the moichin that is the midas that came down relative to the moichin itself, hey midas, they are midas. You can't count them as moichin. The moichin and the midas are called midas, are essence of midas. But v'inyan HaKadosh Baruch Hu maniach tefillin. So what does it mean? The Eibishter maniach tefillin. It's more than just the degradation and that lowering the level. When the Eibishter maniach tefillin hu sheba midas zo nimshach etzem ha-moichin. That the midas of zo, you get the moichin itself. That's why the tefillin are called a pe'er. The Eibishter puts on the pe'er, puts on the beauty. Why? Sha'kodesh Baruch Hu, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu maniach tefillin, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu, which is Zoh, mispair b'hem, he brags with them. Why is he bragging? Because he got the level of moichin be'etzem. The tiferes, who means shebein areich. Tiferes is from a matter which is uncomparable. So when the Eibishter is maniach tefillin, what happens? He brags about it. It not brags, but it purifies him. He's mispoyer. It adorns the Eibishter. Why? Because Kutchabrichu, which is the Eibishter, which is the level of Zoh, Kutchabrichu got now tefillin. Got now tefillin. He gets the moichin be'etzem to come down into Kodesh Baruch Hu, into midas. That's one pirush of HaKadosh Baruch Hu maniach tefillin. The other pirush is we bring down from Keser to moichin. Here we're seeing moichin to midas. The other pirush is from Keser to midas. Obeys the second pirush is HaKadosh Baruch Hu atzmus eirin sof shelamayla matzins. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is atzmus eirin sof, which is higher than Atzilus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu maniach tefillin v'amshachas eirin sof b'moichin is to bring down the eirin sof in the moichin. Okay? Well, if Pirush said, here we understand why the Eibishter says maniach tefillin. This is a pe'er. It's a beauty. Why is it moving oid yosiri in a pe'er the tefillin? Well, it's even better because now kitoisves ha'oir shenimshach ba'amoichin ma'atzmus erin sof shalamayla ma'atzilus, because that additional light that comes into the moichin of atzmus erin sof, this tefillin, the hamshocha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu from the Ein Sof in the tefillin, in the moichin, or higher than Atzilus in the moichin, Shalomama Hu Be'ein Erech L'Gamri is totally uncomparable. So now we have even a greater, so that's even a pair. So this that we're talking about now, we finally came to this idea that the tefillin, what is the idea of the Eibishter's tefillin what he does is a yichud, either of moichin and midas or arich keser with moichin. And this means the Eibishter puts on tefillin. So now, v'zeu es havaye hamarto. And this is what means you made Hashem. You made Hashem important. You made Hashem important. A yid kaviyachol, so to speak, is the one that makes Hashem important. Loshen chashivus u'shvach, meaning importance and praise. Which means that yichud that takes place is accomplished by a yid. We make Hashem beautiful because this yichud, we accomplish that. A yid does that. That's what you're doing. Hashem Amarta. The fact that the Eibishter puts on tefillin, Eibishter's beauty, Meichin in Midas, Kesser in Dirten. Who brings this? As Hashem Hamarta, you made him important. Zenase al yidei ha'avodah di Yisrael. That comes through Yid through his avodah brings that about. This is also the meaning of Atem asisuni chativa achas. You are the one that made me one. That yichud, that is something was made by the Yid. Asisuni, you made it. Why? Kimisad seder ishtalshlus, because in the orderly matter of things, that al pikavamida, the way things are measured by the measuring yard, hamshocha me'elyon letachten, when you bring something down from the higher to the lower, whether it is maitzela atzilus, from ani, from keser to atzilus, or when you bring down from moichin to midas, that's restricted according to the lower one's vessel. So how could we do that? The Eibishter should be tefillin b'shnei pirush manal. Shem dugmas shnei hapirushim del'il bavaya achot chativ achas. In these two pirushim, whether it is from atzilus, from moichin to midas, or from keser to from ani, from atzmus with moichin. Shem dugmas shnei pirushim del'il bavaya achot chativ achas. We say avaya achot. Who does that? That's the Yichud Vavkeim Yuchei and the Yichud Avayim Ani, the two levels. The Nase al Yidei Ha'avodah the Yisrael Atem Asisuni. That is made through the Avodah of a Yid. So, who is the one? As Hashem Hamarto, because in the Eibishter's film says that you made Hashem important, because everything that is accomplished through tefillin, through the yichud, is due to the yid. So that's why that posik is Hashem Hamarta comes through a yid. That's why in the Eibishter's tefillin says Umikamcho ki Yisrael ga'echad, because that's how the Eibishter became praiseworthy, because the yidden accomplish the echad, they bring about the unity, and that's why we're saying who's like the people that bring about the echad, because they are the one asisuni, they are the one that make up to the Eibishter. This is very difficult and fine. We have to go through over again, but the general intent over here is I believe the way we explain this.